Rock Painting 101. I'm back. I was super duper busy the last week, and full disclosure, I probably will be for a little while, but I'm still going to sneak on as much as possible and do some fun rock tutorials for you. This week's prompt for the 52 rocks is to do a beach style rock, which is very intimidating. So I just want to do something very simple just to give you a couple little tricks that you can use to create your very own beach style rock. I am using my pens today just because the quicker dry time, but you can do these with your acrylics and a brush at home. I will be using a little bit of a brush and some water as well. So if you saw right at the beginning, I drifted away. My daughter saw my little beach rock when she got home, and she's 4, and she even tried to replicate the little beach rock, and I think for 4, she did pretty well. So if she could manage this at 4, I think you guys can tackle and give this one a try. And like I said, I did it very simple. You can add things to this. I just want to show how to kind of get this little wave type look to it. So we're going to start, and I've got all, excuse me about my camera, I've got all of the pens are 3M, which is considered the fine tip that I'm going to be using today. So we're going to start up in the sky and kind of work our way forward a little bit. We will bounce around a little bit, and my daughter used this pen last, so I just make sure there's no blue on there, and it's okay. I'm just going to put down a little bit of a layer of white. This is going to be hard for you to see since I'm painting on white, but you'll be able to tell once I go in with my light blue, just because I want to give the sky a little bit of a variance. We're going to start right wherever we want our horizon line to be and work our way up. And I'm kind of going in a circular motion here so that I'm going to come right into that white. See, and it will kind of start to pull that white in. And we'll slowly go up to the top so it kind of gets a little bit lighter near the edge. And you can wrap around the sides as much as you want to on this. Yeah, I always sometimes wonder, you know, where exactly, how far over the edge to take the rocks sometimes. So just kind of get in that little hole there. And we've got our nice light blue, sky blue, and beautiful bright blue skies over the ocean a lot of the time. That's what I'm dreaming of on this gloomy, I kind of got a gloomy day going on here. So there we go, just as simple as that. We got our blue on the top. Now I'm also going to go in and put a little bit of sand at the bottom here first so it gets a little bit of a chance to dry in case I want to go back over it later. For the sand, I'm actually going to use the brown and the peach together just because I think the peach is a little too light, the brown's a little too dark. Obviously, if you've got acrylics, just go in there with a nice sandy color and you can add this in. Sometimes I like to use more than one color anyways because you'll get a little bit of some areas and pockets where the color isn't 100%. So I'm just going to go right on top of it. Don't worry, your tips are water soluble, so you can just dab off and you don't have to really worry about blending on the tips of these pens. When I first got them, I was so nervous to do this kind of stuff because they aren't super cheap, but you know, the more you use them, the more you'll realize they're very user-friendly. So I'm just going to kind of swirl around and fill this in, and we can go back over it and add more detail later. Just want to get that down so that it's nice and dry when we're going to come in and add our spray. So see, I'm just kind of dabbing on a damp paper towel here, or you can just draw on a piece of paper, but see that dark brown came right off, so you don't have to worry about it. Hello, Kim. Hi, Jenny. Hi, Lori. Seeing these comments come in. Sometimes they're a little bit delayed, so I apologize for that if I'm missing a few. Some days it's faster than others. There we go. Alaska, yes. A little bit cooler beach scene there, but I've heard the beaches up there are beautiful. Okay, so we're going to start our back wave. We're going to start in the back and work our way forward. I am going to add clouds, but I'm going to kind of do that while we're in dry time. So we're going to bounce a little bit back and forth. If you're using acrylics, you will have a little bit more dry time in between. You want to work fairly quick just because you want to work with the paint while it's wet. If you're using pens, you have a little bit more time if you're using acrylics. So I've got my light blue and a little bit of green because I always feel like the ocean has that little green tint that makes it so pretty. And we're going to start just right along our horizon line with our dark blue. I feel like my tip is poking out a little bit on that. There we go. Just go right along the horizon line. And I'm kind of dab back and forth with green and the light blue. And I'm going to try to hold up a little bit off the side. Sorry. Try to keep out of the way of the comments. Now, if you're ever watching and the comments are in the way, you can mute the comments while it's live, if I'm ever kind of drifting a little bit. So while it's still wet, I've got my brush. It was sitting in water. I'm going to actually wipe off most of that water. You can always add more water, but it's harder to take it away. So I'm just going to start by blending right below the dark blue to get that kind of greenish color that I like for my ocean. And then we'll grab just the littlest bit of water, dab some of it off, and go into the blue. And hopefully we didn't let it dry too long. If it doesn't pull, see, sometimes you have to wiggle it a little bit to get it to start to pull. I'm just going to work right along that line, and it's okay if it's dripping down because we're going to blend that out anyways. And you just kind of want to keep that dark line at the top, like so, and just pull it down. You can wipe off the extra if you need to. Just kind of wiggle right on that line just to get that to pull down just a littlest bit. See, and that side kind of dried a little bit on me. Just like that. I'm going to kind of go back and forth. I'm going to wipe off the extra, just like that. And I want a little bit more of the dark blue because we're all the way in the back. It kind of will work its way forward. While it's wet, you can just go right in on there and do it a little bit thicker. And just go back and forth between your brush and your paint. If you get too much water on your brush, I think it might have been a little bit wet there at the beginning. If you get too much water on, you're going to actually brush your paint right off your rock. So, and very, very light touch. As you can see, I mean, I've got it's just got a good point to it. These are not super expensive brushes, but just a very, very light touch. And you're just going to kind of pull it down just a little bit. And then you can kind of just get the rest of it off on your rock. You're going to go over this area again in a little bit anyways. So you want to just have it kind of fade into your bottom. And we're going to come back in with our next layer pretty close next to that one. So you don't have to have it come down too far. So I'm just going to wipe off my brush and I'm going to set it off to the side. And while I'm letting this area dry, we're going to go in and add a little cloud up in the sky. And it won't take long for mine to dry because I am using my pens. But if you're using acrylics, just make sure that you let it dry. You don't want your paint to bleed up when you do your next layer here. So you want to make sure it's dry before you go in. So I'm just going to add a little cloud over here, over on my right hand side. I'm just going to make little circular motions here, kind of along the bottom of wherever I want it, and then just kind of work my way up and kind of give it a little bit of shape. Just a nice little wispy cloud. It doesn't have to be anything crazy. We want those light fluffy clouds, and then you can kind of pull your circle back the other way if you want. Just like that. It's a cute little cloud up in the sky. If your blue might be a little wet, just dab dab. Make sure you get any off the tip of your white. I'm going to peek here and see how we're doing. And see, because I'm using the pens, it's already dry. Now if you're, again, using acrylics, you'll have to slow down just a little bit, okay? So we're going to just do the next layer, and we're going to do the exact same thing. Now, when you look back into the ocean, the waves don't always make straight lines across, so you can have them kind of crash in little areas. Just, you know, however it falls in, just make sure you leave that little bit of white or light. It's not really white anymore, but that light area in between, and it will kind of give you that separation. And as you work your way forward, you'll get that kind of wave effect. A little blue. I got to get that green in there. And we're going to get, we don't want a really super wet brush. Start with it kind of dry to blend those two colors together just a little bit. And then just the littlest bit of water. You don't want to wash away your blue paint. You just kind of get in there and just kind of wiggle. Just try not to go too far over your blue line. like so. Just like that. And then just kind of work your way back and forth. Like I said before, you can go off the side of your rock as much as or as little as you want to. Just kind of like that. And just pull that extra paint down. Kind of blend it back and forth till you kind of like the way that it looks. I was offline for quite a while there, so I appreciate you guys being patient. But like I said, I'm actually in the process. I'll be relocating here really soon. And it's not just next door. I'm moving kind of few states over. So I'll be in and out as much as I can, but I appreciate you guys' patience while we transition. Kind of exciting. So we got that next little line there. And I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to go in and give our happy little cloud there a friend, because you guys all know I'm a huge Bob Ross fan, so we can't have a lonely cloud up there. That cloud needs a little friend. So same thing, just little circles. Clouds are nice and fluffy. There's no specific size or way that a cloud needs to look. Just place it on in there however you like. You can see through parts of clouds sometimes. You know, pockets of blue sky might come through. Just add it on in there. Make sure you dab off the tip in case you got any blue on there. And place it to the side. Now I am going to come in probably after our next layer. Let's feel how this one is. We'll do one more layer and then we're going to work a little bit on the bottom while we're waiting for things to dry. There we go. Oh, Nancy, thank you. I'm glad you enjoyed the tutorials. I will still be able to hop on pretty often with them. Luckily, I don't have a huge setup that I'm working with here, so it's pretty easy for me to set this up almost anywhere I go. Now, as you move forward in your ocean, you're going to have a little bit more space usually in between each wave, or, you know, ripple, I guess you could say, in the water. And sometimes they don't even go all the way across. You could have one cut from this side, you know, and kind of fade off down, or have one come from this side that's just off over here. Just play with it however you want. If they end up meeting when you blend, not a big deal either. So I'm just kind of back and forth here. Like that. Oh, Opal from, the Redlands, California. I don't know how far inland is that. I don't know how far inland it is, but you probably get a lot of inspiration from the ocean. So we got that. We're going to blend this together like so. Like that. There we go. And we're going to kind of cut these across each other. We'll maybe even pull that one down in front like that. Go. I'm going to sneak in here with that, get a little bit more color. I might have to grab a little more blue. That might have got a little too dry. And that's the thing. Once they kind of dry, they're not going to pull and push quite as easily. And that side's a little bit more green even. But it's all right. You can always go in with a little bit more, especially where the rock's a little bit wet. And pull it around. There we go. But as you can see, each time you pull forward, that little bit of area you leave in between really helps give it that dimension and that look that you can kind of, when you look out deep, you can kind of see the little ripples in the water. There we go. I'm just going to pull that forward a little bit. Now this might be the part that I'm still, I always tell you guys, you know, I've painted back and forth a little bit, but I'm more of a doodler when it comes to my artwork. So trying to do something realistic isn't necessarily my most highest expertise. So I've been playing just as much as maybe some of you. When I saw beach rock coming, I thought, I have no idea what I'm going to do for this. So I kind of just played it by ear. You can obviously go more in depth with where your beach is at. But for now, we're going to go with a fun little, you know, that foamy spray that kind of comes up onto the shore a little bit. So all you're going to do is take either a brush or your white pen, and we're just going to dab, you know, almost like in a little foamy line. I mean, you can have it wave in and out a little bit, because waves don't ever come crashing to the shore in a straight line, right? And I do this now because you can do a second layer of it, because a little bit of that brown might show through a little when you do it. So just go ahead, and I'm not actually pushing the tip in when I'm doing this. You'll end up with way too much paint. You don't want to waste a bunch of paint. So I'm just dabbing along the edge here. There we go. And then we can go in and do that edge again once we have the water up to the edge. So I'm thinking I'm not going to do another wave here. We're just going to kind of have that water flow in. So we're just going to add a little bit more of our light blue along in here. And we're just going to work it with our brush. Just like so, a little bit of that. And the more water we use, the lighter the color we'll get. So we're just going to kind of move it around until we like it. I mean, that's kind of the fun part, is we just kind of play it by ear. Let it kind of come together. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm a little bit low under those comments again. Just kind of pull it from side to side, like so. And you can come right up to that little spray line, and we can, we'll go back over that once it's dry anyways. You can kind of blend that up into your last wave, like so. And we got a little bit greener here in the front, which is okay, because a lot of oceans have that pretty tealish green tint, but I want a little bit more blue to it. So if you get a little more wet, you'll be able to pull a little bit more of that color off. So I'm just going to come in and add just a dash more blue here. And without adding more water to my brush. If you add more water to your brush, you'll end up just wiping it right back off. So just work back and forth until you're happy with your rock. Here we go. And then we're going to come in with our white. I'll give it 1 second here to kind of dry, and that way we can go in and add some more white there. I'm going to answer a couple questions really quick while this dries just a smidge. Ina, you said that for some reason your pens don't seem to blend with wet paintbrush. The paint does dry a little bit quickly. If you only have extra fine, you can try adding a little bit of water to your rock first, so that your rock is a little bit damp. Not a lot, because the paint will run, but you can add a little bit of paint just directly to your rock first, and then use your pens along that. It will help it kind of blend a little bit, not too wet. Start with it lightly. You can always add more water. And I love the comment went by really fast, but somebody said they were going to add a shark to theirs, and I love it. Add that shark. Make sure you come back and post a picture, because I would love to see that. That sounds really cool. I won't steal your idea. I thought a nice little sailboat way out in the water would be cute. You could add, a little tree, peeking over the edge. So I just wanted to start with just the basics here, so you've got kind of a springboard, for lack of better words, of where you can kind of start and then try to do a beach rock for the theme for this week. So all we're going to do now is come back in here right along this dot, and I'm just going to do another layer here really quick and easy, where that wave's crashing in, just like so, that little spray that happens on the water. And we're going to call this rock good, and add whatever you love or want to your rock. Come back, share them in the comments below. I'd love to see them. And like I said, if you guys are joining late and didn't see the very beginning, I'm going to share this one with you one more time. My daughter came home from school and saw this rock, and she's 4, and that's her replica. So if she can give it a try, you all can give it a try too. So I really hope you give it a shot. And I forgot to add the link above, so I'll come back in and add a link if anybody needs pens or are looking for pens. We have them on our supply page on our website, so I'll add that link above as well. So thanks everybody for joining in live. If you shared this out into your groups, I really appreciate it. It helps the page grow and more people join the challenge. We've had so many amazing entries, so I really appreciate you guys all sharing and having a good time. Jamie, starfish would be beautiful. I can't wait to see yours. Everybody have a great day. Bye.